owner of 270 Strategies, where some employees at her firm do work with the Clinton campaign, but Lynda does not and has no affiliation with either campaign, so very fair at this point. Thank you so much for joining us.
Of course, it's great to be here.
Big week. Let's analyze what happened. First and foremost, we saw Clinton. She reveled in her historic moment, and the same time we heard from Bernie Sanders, and I want to play the soundbite, and I also want to get your reaction to really the tale of two Democrats, if you will. Take a listen.
Our campaign has been about building a movement which brings working people and young people into the political process to create a government which represents all of us and not just a handful of wealthy campaign contributors.
So perhaps not a speech that we were anticipating, a concession speech, perhaps. A different tone there. What's your reaction to that?
Well, look, I think you have to set it into historical context. So similarly, in 2008, when Hillary Clinton lost the nomination to Barack Obama, she also took some time to, come around to that now very, very famous glass ceiling speech. You have to remember that presidential campaigns are intensely and deeply personal, and it takes time for people to kind of dial it down afterwards. That doesn't mean that we're not going to see something fantastic from Bernie Sanders in the near future.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you, too. Is there any, are there things going on behind the scenes that we're not privy to? Is he holding this leverage because he has garnered so much support? Is he after something that we're not aware of?
When Bernie Sanders got into the election, it wasn't about winning the nomination, it was about changing the conversation. And so by that metric, no matter where you sit or who you support, you have to agree that he has had tremendous, tremendous success. The question now is, how does he make sure that what he's done to change the conversation actually becomes enshrined in the Democratic Party platform? And so what I would expect is, as we head into Philadelphia and his delegates are getting reared up to make sure that things like income inequality, getting big money out of politics, college affordability, those kinds of things are part of the party platform moving forward.
When you talk about a party platform, we saw a number of endorsements this week. The president, vice president, Senator Elizabeth Warren, those are all people who can speak on behalf of Clinton. That's invaluable. The most important thing in campaigns is money, and then also who's out there getting your face out there, because you can't be all across the nation at once. Does she need Bernie Sanders as an ally? Can she continue without him? Because there's folks such as Elizabeth Warren who are a little bit more far to the left who can really represent and cater to that crowd.
Well, as you point out, it is critically important that Hillary Clinton now has all of these endorsements and all of these surrogates who are going to be very, very passionately stumping on her behalf on the trail, because the most important thing is actually time, and it's the candidate's time. So by having really amazing speakers out there on her behalf, that means she has to do it a little bit less. That said, Bernie Sanders has built up incredible capital this year, and so he has to decide, what does he want to do with that? Does he appeal to his supporters to get out there and make sure they vote for her? Does he appeal to them to volunteer and to actually get involved in helping to elect her in a way that they certainly could? I mean, he's certainly built a movement. Does he use his list? Folks have talked a lot about how incredible this juggernaut he has created has been in terms of raising money. 5.5 million individual contributions is nothing to shake a stick at. So how does he deploy these kinds of resources moving forward, and also as he takes into consideration his desire to return to the Senate as somebody with a lot of clout and a lot of credibility?
That brings me to my next question. What's next for Bernie Sanders? We have about 30 seconds left, and I'm curious as to if you have any predictions as to what's next for him now that he has garnered some real national attention.
I think Bernie Sanders is going to give a rousing speech in Washington, D.C. after that primary takes place, and I think he's going to head back to the Senate and fight really hard now that he has a bigger microphone on behalf of the issues that he's shown he really cares about.
All right, we're going to see on Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right.
Lynda Tran, thank you so much. We appreciate it. Very interesting. And for more reaction to Hillary Clinton's historic run,